joined the Antisocial Network.
Yeah. Mask up, stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah, right.
Hi, welcome to YUH with Lisa, Phil, and Aaron. This week we have some guests. We have Sophia, who is joining us with Jeremy. And then we have the dad from Family Plot. And we have Harley. Welcome, everybody. And this week we are doing somewhat of a Val Kilmer tribute. Each person on the podcast has picked a Val Kilmer movie that they love, or that, well, maybe not love, but their favorite Val Kilmer movie. He doesn't have to have been the star in the movie, but he has to have been in the movie. And they're going to talk about it for a minute.
And then we'll vote. We'll take a little intermission and we'll vote, and we'll come up with a winner of the Felix in the Val Kilmer category. But we should say that this is our first episode on the Antisocial Network. We're going to be part of the Antisocial Network now, moving forward.
But cool.
Yesterday,
Whoa.
Contraband.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
What?
Yeah.
The Antisocial Network? Or
Yeah.
okay.
I understand there's some. You mentioned there was some history there. I don't know, Jeremy, what that was.
I didn't know they're still a thing anymore. I didn't know they're still a thing anymore even. But
Well,
I guess they're trying to bring on these super podcasts in order to raise their profile, and that's part of our.
they've been trying to.
and yet they courted us.
They've been trying to do that for years. But yeah.
Well, they finally struck gold here, but so I think we should start off by first of all asking Dad of the Family Plot, give us a little background since this is your first time on our show.
All right. Well, let's see. I was a stand-up comic for 20 years before I retired and became a family man, and started the Family Plot podcast with. Originally, it was me and our son that did it, and then Mom wanted to be involved, and our son was like, cool. So now we're a family podcast, and we talk about history all the time. But I have always loved movies. I quote movies all the time, and weirdly, there are a few Val Kilmer movies that I deeply love, and then the rest I sort of either don't know about or kind of detest.
Don't care.
Yeah. Okay.
Got ya.
History. That's interesting. I love history. I would love to check that out. Find out what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. As you will find out later, Harley and Jeremy are part of the Joker and
Harley and the Joker.
right, Harley and the
The
Joker.
Asylum with Harley and Joker.
Right, the
Right.
Asylum with Harley and Joker on so they have their own podcast, and so welcome to glad you could make it for the Val Kilmer.
Always.
Sorry.
There we go. So before we get started, this probably won't take as long as some of our more epic yearly Felix presentations we've done in the past. But I would like to make sure when we're done with this, when everybody submits their
Movie.
there has to there's one movie that if it's not presented, I think we need to throw it into the mix. And I'll just withhold that because it may be presented, but I just want to make sure. We want to make sure the man. Okay, so I feel like Kilmer is sort of like the last or one of the last of a dying breed. You've got man, here I go with my senior moments already. All right, so who's
Harrison Ford, maybe?
Harrison Ford, the guy who does Mission Impossible.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise,
Whose name does not
The
my
Cruiser.
It's like I begin to talking this shit already, waves out of my brain. But
Jean-Claude Van Damme's writing that out right up there too.
right,
Sure he is.
Don't think so.
yeah. I mean, they're great actors today, but the golden age of Hollywood was where you would take an actor and you would build him up. He would be a leading man, and he would create this body of work that would become iconic. That's kind of what Val Kilmer was part of.
Yeah, that kind of latter day version of that.
I mean, today it's more,
In the traditional version, like the Golden Age version, more like, I guess maybe I call it the Silver Age version.
yeah, like the golden age of Hollywood or silver age. I mean, today you got streaming and you got these other ways that celebrities are being made over social media and stuff. but you know, you
But
had
they're compartmentalized.
right,
They're not like everybody reads about them in the magazines. They're not, you know, it's with streaming, you might have an actor that network uses a lot, Netflix uses a lot, or you might have one that Prime uses a lot, and it just is so much more compartment.
right,
It's hard to develop a star.
like in the vein of John Wayne
Right.
or Kirk Douglas.
You know.
Okay, so we should say that Val was the youngest inductee into Juilliard School, the acting school. So he was definitely molded to be a leading man. You know, he had the looks, he had the moxie, the chops, and the confidence to take on that challenge. He also from Juilliard, he went to he began doing work in New York on the theater scene. That's kind of his introduction to professional acting. And one of his first film roles was in The Slab Boys, which was a very small role. From that, probably his first big role, though, was probably Top Secret.
That's what I meant when I said Hot Topic. I was thinking of that Top Secret.
Much more expanded role, and that led probably to his first leading role in Real Genius, which I think someone might have for us today as their entry. Of course, one of my favorite early movies of that era kind of was True Romance. I like that. Christian Slater and
I was just looking at his filmography and I saw that and I'm like, he played Elvis? I never knew that.
Yeah, I like that movie, but I wouldn't classify it as a Val Kilmer movie.
No, it's not really. But he did have the role of Elvis in that.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
But it's around this time, I guess, where maybe his success was starting to get into his head, and he was a little bit of a hard person to work
Became
with,
a diva.
to his own acknowledgement. And he said something about this later in his memoir. He said, there are a lot of actors who are awful people, but nobody talks about them being awful because they've made billions or millions. So I guess he probably had kind of some regrets for the way he treated people later in life. If you see his documentary Val, where you see a lot of his...
It's really good, by the way.
It's really
I
good.
like documentaries.
But he was sort of a filmophile, so he recorded his life basically over his entire professional career and has a lot of great footage in that. But he does speak to his own regrets in that doc. But
and the voice that you hear is his son. He's
First-
quite a bit like him, though.
his first big break was probably the role of Tom Iceman Kazansky in Top Gun. I tried to watch Top Gun. I hated it. I couldn't.
I hate that movie with a passion.
Yeah.
I can't stand Tom Cruise in that movie. I just
can't stand Tom Cruise.
that led to. You're going to say something, Dave?
Oh, I was just going to say, Dan is trying to join you. I happen to.
Oh, cool.
Great. I'm sorry, I missed him. I'm rattling on here. All right.
I just happen to have Facebook up behind my little camera screen here, so I saw him saying,
Cool. We'll wait for him to get in here.
"He is so slow."
How you doing, Harley?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you there, Dan?
I'm waiting for my son to bring me my other headphones. These are dying.
Ah.
It's like the audio is a little slow to connect here.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this little bio is dragging on because we're almost at a half hour. So,
Well, he did a lot. I mean,
yeah.
he donated to a lot of causes. Like when Katrina came, he went and helped there. The only thing I'm not real thrilled about is he was a Christian Scientist, but nobody's perfect.
Right.
Hey, Dan, glad to have you on. I'm Phil. This is Lisa.
Welcome. The gentleman, the long-haired gentleman is Aaron. We are the hosts of Jeremy and Harley are.
He knows me. He knows me, but
Okay. Well then.
Here to ugly up your screen for you.
Well, that's perfect. We needed some more of that, but so you're fortunate. You're on the tail end of my little biography here, Val Kilmer. So you've been spared a lot of misery so far. But his first leading role was Jim Morrison in The Doors, an Oliver Stone movie. That led to roles in Tombstone in 1993, which was kind of iconic, I guess. And what he said, his idea was, here's a good quote I thought was pertinent to this time in his career. It was if you're in a hit movie, it's good to be in another hit movie straight away. And I think there's good and bad to that quote because it kind of, I think it guided him to be in this Batman production. He was like trying to take his acting.
Say no to Batman, and I feel like you can.
Yeah. And
I mean,
turned out to be a terrible Batman,
right.
but he was not into it. And in fact, he turned down an opportunity to do it again, to do The Saint, which is kind of another non-memorable movie.
I enjoyed The Saint though.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I wouldn't say that
I think his acting on that character was really. I felt like he really embodied the Saint.
Okay.
Roger Moore?
Maybe.
No, the Saint.
Maybe that's your
Yeah.
Val Kilmer in the Saint.
Right. Based on the Roger Moore TV series, The Saint.
All right, so I'm not gonna. I've got a couple more notes here, but I'm gonna spare you guys so that we don't spiral down the drain here, and we're gonna jump into our picks for Val Kilmer movies, the Felix. So we've asked you all to come with your favorite Val Kilmer movie or role, and out of courtesy to our newer guests, we'll start with them. How about
Actually, he won the dice roll. No, Harley won the dice roll.
Oh, you got the dice roll going. I'm going to turn this over to Aaron, who's going to be kind of the
There we
master
go.
ceremony.
All right, Harley, what's your nomination and why?
Okay, can you hear me? Because
Yeah.
I just hooked up. Okay.
Yes.
My nomination is At First Sight. I'm a huge chick flick fan, and I loved the fact that he was a blind massage therapist, and they fell in love. And well, it's a huge chick flick, so that's why.
Okay.
I watched that on a plane, I think. It was all right.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, me neither. At least I don't think
I haven't
have.
seen it.
So it didn't stick in my memory, unfortunately.
I saw it on HBO like years later, and I was not impressed. But
So sort of.
it also had Myra Sorvino, who's very hit and miss for me. So
Yeah, she.
Well, I mean, I had other ones too, like
Well,
the Jay and
we'll
Silent
save
Bob.
we'll save them for honorable mentions. All right. Well, that went quickly.
Yeah, that's cool. We didn't have to get the timer out for that one.
Nah, I don't think we'll need the timer with this few people. Next, let's see, Harley rolled a 17. Next was Phil, 11.
All right. Well, I picked The Doors without having rewatched it. I remember it from when I saw it when I was a kid. It came out. I was a big Doors fan. I was really excited to see it. I thought Oliver Stone was a good filmmaker at the time. So when I rewatched it, I took note of all the flaws in the film. It's like if you were to take Walk Hard off the charts and replace it with The Doors, it would be kind of an adequate comedic performance or comedic film, I think. I mean, it was really corny.
It was definitely an arrow at excess.
It followed a lot of memes and things about that become traditional in these biopics that are kind of tropes that are redone ad nauseum.
Baby.
The film,
So your pick is The Doors?
It is The Doors. It is The Doors.
Okay.
It is The Doors. And I'll tell you why. Now that I've shed all over the movie, I'll tell you why. To me, it was his biggest, most prominent role. It was his first turn at being a lead actor. It was a huge film. He looked like Jim Morrison. I mean, if you close your eyes, but if you watched him and compared it to some other clips of Morrison and stuff, he really captured the essence of the guy. I love the
mannerisms as well as styling.
They chose the right music for this movie. I felt like they took a lot of his solo work and his poems and really intertwined it well into the movie. So it was rewarding to see as a Doors fan for that reason alone. But the members of the band really did not like it at all. Ray Manzarek did not like the film. It was based on a biography by the guitarist, can't think of his name Robbie Krieger, called No One Here Gets Out Alive, but even he was kind of lukewarm to it. So you can imagine that there was a lot of poetic license, so to speak, that was taken in the movie. But a lot of good cameos in it. Crispin Glover as
Andy
Warhol was excellent casting. He was just odd enough to be believable in that role. Kyle MacLachlan as Ray Manzarek.
That that's who that was.
Yeah, that's who that was.
I was
Yeah,
trying to figure out who the actor was.
I think
I
Val.
think that's a compliment on the acting.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
I think Val did a good job. He sang the songs. In fact, the soundtrack that they released was Val singing the songs. Yeah, I just think there were better movies with Val Kilmer than this one, but I felt like this was a catalyst for his career and that it really launched.
It's weird to hear McLaughlin in a non-David Lynch movie at that time.
Right.
You're right.
I think I saw it just in the theater. I haven't watched it since,
Mm.
and I might have seen it with you, Phil. I don't know.
Maybe.
Might have saw it with you or else on a date.
Yeah, I just don't think that I don't think the appreciation for the Doors is. I don't think
Been
the way
34 years.
Doors are viewed today are the same as they were in '91. I think now a lot of people's view of the Doors is shaped by this movie.
Well, Phil, you can always do a Doors bracket next time you win the wheel. I made one, so.
All right, well,
Oh, cool.
about 3 or 4 months down the road, maybe.
You're not even in that wheel
Yeah,
spin,
just
so give
Your
it a good 6
schedule,
months.
our schedule, you know.
I think I'd do the Beastie Boys first before I do that.
I just actually made up the playlist for that bracket.
Yeah,
I was doing that work on Friday.
Oh, goody.
but I'll spare you any more
Mhm.
analysis.
All
Anybody
the
else?
doors.
Anybody else seen it?
I can't say I've
Which,
seen
the
it.
Door?
Yeah, the Doors.
My husband said that he loved how he played the role as the lead singer, that he did an amazing job at that one.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I will say about the movie, if you watch it, pay attention to when his girlfriend Pam hides in the closet. Because that scene, oh my God, what he does. Oh, and I'm
yeah.
not going to spoil it.
That was terrible.
That was absolutely horrific. And yet she continued being with him.
I liked it. The only thing I didn't like about it is I didn't feel it accurately represented his drift away from mainstream music at any point.
Mm.
Because, I mean, there was a point at which he was just like, I'm done. It's why he started getting fat, is because he didn't want to live that life anymore. And I feel like that sort of got left out. I hear that it's a big part of the book, but I don't remember it being part of the movie. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen that movie for at least 10 years, and I've forgotten big chunks of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The dad, is your guest part Maine Coon?
This is Apollo, and he thinks he's a person. Yeah, and sometimes he just needs dad to be a bed. So.
Oh yeah.
He looks like my Fitz Darcy and
Yeah.
acts like my Fitz Darcy.
Mhm.
So
I have
next-
two standoffish cats who don't like to be on camera.
the next up is Dan, who rolled an 8.
My pick for Val Kilmer movie, and I'm sure it's not I'm not the only person that picked this one, was Tombstone. And I chose it because there's so many iconic one-liners in there delivered by him, as well as
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, exactly. That is like, if you go to a gun enthusiast show or anything like that, you'll see those bumper stickers with his likeness on them everywhere. I only know that because I've printed some of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Was
know,
he Wyatt Earp or something?
No, he was Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday.
And that scene where he makes fun of Powers Booth or Michael Bain is Johnny Ringo. Johnny Ringo just got through twirling his gun, has a way of showing off. So Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, does the same thing, but with a tin cup, and makes everybody laugh and just kind of makes a fool out of Johnny Ringo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Didn't we touch
He
on
did a good
Tombstone
job
once?
playing a guy who
It was
dated
in
a
our-
woman who was largely known as Big Nose Kate.
It was in our mustachioed movies.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it won,
watched-
actually.
It did win. Yeah. How could it not?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I finally watched it for that, and it was a good movie. I wouldn't say it's the best Western I've ever seen, but it was damn good.
Well, I think Kilmer
As mustaches go, though,
Oh, I mean, yeah.
heavily represented.
I think Kurt Russell's underrepresented in that movie as far as the mustaches. Mustache reputations. All
Well,
right.
wasn't he
like-
speeding against Sam Elliott too?
Hold on. I
Yeah.
feel like in this
Yeah.
movie, Kilmer, his at Juilliard, his specific study was in like method acting, and I feel like that comes across in this and in The Doors. Like he really got into the role of Doc Holliday in order to get the point where he's can do the part right where he's dying and he's talking to Wyatt at the end. He's laying on a bed of ice in order to make himself uncomfortable and clammy looking. So I mean, he really got into his roles and like did the method acting, for sure. And yeah, I just think that's, in fact, Dan, that's the one that I was thinking of, that if nobody picked it, that's one we would have to include. That may be his best acting job, I think. I don't know.
I thought he really threw himself into the roles. If he chose a role, if he took a role, he did it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we're talking about him.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I'm not much for westerns. There's only this one, Young Guns, and maybe another couple of others that I've ever even gotten into.
Mm-hmm.
But
American Outlaws.
I think this is one of the best ones out there.
It was full of dollars. Some of the Clint Eastwood ones were good. Outlaw
Right.
Josie Wales.
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven's pretty classic.
With
The Quick and the Dead.
Oh yeah, Josie
Josie
Wales.
Wales is my favorite.
Josie Wales might be
But,
my favorite Western.
My dad loved spaghetti westerns, so he.
Man.
John Wayne.
Good, the Bad, and the
Little
Ugly
Girl.
is a classic.
Oh, yeah, True Grit.
Yeah.
Yeah, True Grit. True Grit and Josie Wales might be my favorite westerns.
The John Wayne or the Jeff Bridges?
Jeff Bridges.
Honestly, I think both of them are good, but I think I like Jeff Bridges a little bit better.
The Coen Brothers.
I got one quote
Right.
that he had about westerns. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless a westerns made money, doesn't matter who made the money, doesn't matter what the subject is. If the last one didn't make any money, you can't make another western for a 4-year period, is what he said.
And that is true of westerns more than any other genre.
I think
That's part of his quote.
I think that's interesting because Wyatt Earp came up the year after Tombstone, and I thought that was a train wreck. It was just like his self-indulgent Kevin Costner, meandering mess. But
Right. But we have to note here that Philip is
Do you
not
count Star
in
Wars
any
movies as
way
westerns?
a Kevin Costner.
No, we do not, Aaron.
Yeah.
How dare thou?
But they are.
I do think that the Star Trek series was basically a western set in space, but
probably right.
He said Star Wars, not Star
I
Trek.
said Star
but yeah.
Wars.
I know. I was just interjecting.
The first Star Wars, maybe. After that, they stopped being westerns and became their own thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Though technically, Aaron, the first one was based off a Japanese, basically anime movie. So
Well, it's based off the Seven Samurai.
No, Hidden Fortress, I think it was called. But
Mm-hmm.
It stole a lot of scenes from the Hidden Fortress. Yeah.
Okay.
It stole look from the Hidden Fortress, but it stole plot from the Seven Samurai.
Well, you take things, you improve on them,
Yeah.
But
Okay.
So,
who's next, Aaron?
Next was Family Plot, rolled a 7.
Ooh. Okay, it took me a while to winnow it down to just one because it turns out there's a lot of movies he was in that I kind of liked,
Yeah,
but
his
I'm going to go
IMDb
with
is
Willow.
pretty big. You going with
Oh,
Willow?
Willow.
I'm
Love
going to go
that.
with Willow, Mad Mardigan. Even though, like, if you read the book, he is so not that character. He made it his own, and
he did, yeah. If you read the trilogy, that character is nowhere near what it is in the movie, but
Do you
yeah,
think he
but
improved
he
it?
still made it his own. He still made it kind of Mad Mardigan, but it just like a different Mad Mardigan that hadn't lost a hand and given up on bathing.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, no.
And I guess the reason for me is because he's not your traditional fantasy hero, right? He's not like solidly good and I'll do the right thing. He's kind of a
Jerk.
yeah. He's kind of an arrogant jerk, but sometimes you need an arrogant jerk to get things done.
And I
Plus-
do think... Oh, go ahead.
Shout out
Plus-
to David Bowie's codpiece in Willow.
Mhm.
that's Labyrinth.
Yeah, you're thinking
right,
of Labyrinth.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Mad Mardigan isn't really the hero of Willow. Willow is. So
Which it kind of sucks that in the TV show that Disney Plus did, they only used archive footage of him. They didn't have him come back for like a guest cameo or anything. But it is what it is. I mean, But that was gonna be my pick. No one picked it, so I'm happy someone else did, so I can do another movie. But I mean, I freaking you had to pay respect to Willow. It's a damn good movie. Better version of Princess Bride. I'll live on that to my dying day.
And in that, I think that I feel like he managed to put pain into the arrogance, if that makes sense. You know, like not conflict, but like an underlying pain going through the whole thing.
Right. Like there's a story to how he got here, even though they never really tell it.
Yeah, and I think that's where that makes an actor playing someone who's arrogant more, that's nuance.
All right. I did not see it.
Okay.
I guess maybe that's why I didn't get so much into a lot of Kilmer's movies, because he always seemed to play somebody that was arrogant.
Right.
It just, I don't know. It kind of soiled me. I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
When arrogant,
he's got resting arrogant face.
Yeah. and he used humor as a defense a lot.
Yeah.
Weaponized humor with arrogance.
I think he came from a very competitive environment where you had Cruise and you had Robert Downey Jr. and you had all these guys that were competing for the same big roles when there wasn't a lot of media otherwise
Matthew Modine
to make your money on.
Yeah.
So I feel like they kind of tried to big league themselves. They tried to outdo themselves.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are people that he literally lost roles that he wanted to.
Yeah. No, but the late 80s, early 90s were a hotbed of good actors, so it was a hard time to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you were competing with so many people, and then there were so many just like little movies that were just so good, just like that were better than they had any right to be. I want to say there's a movie, and I could have it wrong, but I want to say it's Something Wild, maybe, and but Ray Liotta is in it, sort of playing a bad guy, and it's really just about this businessman that hooks up with this girl that's just sort of kind of crazy and kind of has a different past, and he goes from this buttoned-up businessman to this kind of wild guy. I want to say Melanie Griffith was the co-star in that.
Something Wild.
But it was an 80s movie. It was better than it had any right to be.
I've heard of it. I can't say I've seen it, but...
Yeah. And I think in my mind, I'm thinking about Wild Things, which was completely different. I'll look at that. Well, who's next, Aaron?
Jeff Daniels and Melanie Griffith. I recognize the DVD or the VHS cover for that one.
Okay, yeah, Jeff Daniels. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber fame.
Yeah. Next, we had a tie. Jeremy and Lisa both rolled 5s, and in the roll-off, Jeremy won 10-7. So Jeremy's next.
Well, since Willow got taken, I doubt anybody else is going to bring it up. Do I want to do this? Yeah, I think I do want to do this.
Don't steal Lisa's now.
No.
I'm okay.
I doubt I would. But, part of me wants to obviously say Jane Silent Bob Reboot, but he only had a small role in that, so I'm not going to pick that. But I got to give the Batman Forever. Bat nipples all day.
Bat nipples all day.
As a kid, that was my favorite Batman movie. I love that's the one with Jim Carrey, if I'm not mistaken. And I love Jim Carrey as Riddler. I love Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Like, it was the perfect casting for villains, I thought. So I got to go with Batman Forever. Even if he's not the best Bruce Wayne or the best Batman in history by far, it was a good way to end the trilogy with like a joke movie, and that's what it was, a joke movie. So
it didn't end the trilogy, unfortunately, because we got George Clooney as Batman.
Oh yeah.
But I liked it. I liked
too,
that movie, but I didn't like it for Val Kilmer. I liked it for Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey. It was one of the movies where the villains made the movie for me.
Well, for me, Batman is always the straight man. The villains are what stand out. So, and I feel like Val Kilmer might have actually done, I don't think that he would have topped the best Joker ever, but I feel like he would have been a really good Joker. I think.
And we got to mention Nicole Kidman here too, because it's Nicole Kidman. Come on now, child of crush right there.
A lot of star power in that movie. I remember it came out. That was the buzz about it? Is it like Jim Carrey was like on top of his game, and
Which one had Arnold in it? Was that the?
That was the one before this. That
was the fourth one with George Clooney. It was
Oh
horrible.
Yeah, it was the one after.
Yeah.
Who's the other villain? I forget who was with Arnold in that.
Uma Thurman, Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah, with the horrible Bane. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I do want to say that in Batman Forever, I think Jim Carrey should just play the Riddler. You know, I mean, yeah, it was practically typecasting.
I mean, I want to see Jim Carrey as Joker. I'm not gonna lie. Jim Carrey I thought would be an amazing Joker.
Yeah.
Jim stole the role from someone that I would have liked to see do it, but I don't think he could have. I think he was too old at the time, and that's Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did steal that. And I mean, see, that was before 1 Hour Photo, so I couldn't see Robin Williams doing it at that point. But I mean, once I saw 1 Hour Photo, I was like,
1 Hour Photo.
I was like, okay, maybe Robin
we got
Williams
to
could
do
play
Robin
that.
Williams movies.
he was creepy in the best sense of the word. And
Oh my God, so good.
that was
I would
we
totally
need to
be
do
in on
Robin
Robin
Williams
Williams. He's
movie.
my favorite.
Mm.
I think Robin Williams would be one of the most competitive freaking things we've ever done because so many people want to pick the same movies. But
Right.
And
that's
my
okay.
favorite movie by his, I can tell you right now, is Death to Smoochie. That
Yeah.
movie was so
Classic.
wonderful.
See, now I haven't seen. Oh, I have to watch.
Yeah,
I've been meaning to watch that.
Gotta say though, he was a notorious joke thief, wasn't he?
Yep, as a stand-up comic, he was. In fact, there's a legend, and I was never able. I spent 20 years as a stand-up comic. I was never able to verify it, but I heard it from a lot of people who claimed to be there at the time. That there was another Robin at the time, the guy that did Bebe's Kids, and I can't remember his last name to save my life right off the top of my head. But he was in a club. In fact, it was Mitzi Shore's club.
Comedy Store.
Yeah, the Comedy Store. Thank you. And he was there, and he did this guy one of this guy's bits, and this guy was a big guy, and he found Robin backstage, and he grabbed him by the throat and slammed him against the wall. Robin Harris, thank you. He slammed Robin Williams up against the wall and said, "I heard you've been doing my jokes, MFer." And Robin slipped him $100 bill and said, "Call it rent."
wow.
And
They used to
From
have like a
talking
code
to-
word when Robin Williams would come in, and all the comedians would know to not do their best stuff because he's there and he'd steal it.
Oh,
Right,
that's sad.
But according to Bobcat Goldthwait, who was his best friend and who I've worked with multiple times,
I love Bobcat.
Bobcat's a great
Bobcat's
guy.
movies.
But he was Robin's best friend. But he was like, if you know Robin, he was never stealing intentionally. His brain would just grab things.
Yeah.
He did a lot of improv, like he had a base idea, and a lot of times it was stuff he saw. It was never anything he meant to do. It was just like his brain was always just looking for the next funny thing to pull in.
And he Robined it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he Robined. I'm gonna
Oh,
coin that
yeah.
word, Robined.
I mean, they say that Disney always said they had like 4 hours of footage of just the opening scene of Aladdin because him behind the freaking booth in the salesman booth was like he just came up with so much different stuff, grabbing different objects on the table in front of him that like they have 4 hours of footage of him just doing that. Like it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just like stream of conscience. I can almost see where he might just grab something that he vaguely remembered having heard, and then, but not to make. I know it's a huge offense, right? I mean, if you're a comedian, right, Dad? So it's a huge offense.
I was.
If you do
It's
it better.
tough. It's tough to forgive him for something like that in one sense, but he's such a likable or such a charismatic character that.
And he was an amazing actor. There's so many
good.
movies he did that I deeply enjoy.
I don't think he
there's
ever did. I can't think of a bad movie he ever did. Really, there's not really a movie I could ever call a bad movie he did.
Mm-mm.
Maybe that should be our next one.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Anyway, we've gotten so off track.
That's okay.
It
And
happens on these
Lisa.
things.
We got a little bit
And
of
I know her
time.
title, but I'll let her say it.
Yes, he does, because I've mentioned it 15,000 times. I fell in love with Val Kilmer in Real Genius, and I never completely fell out of love with him. I know that there were issues, and I'm everyone's got flaws. So, but Real Genius, loved it. Any movie where they fill a house with popcorn, I'm there. Okay? To be totally honest, the movie theater is, for me, a popcorn delivery system. I do make it at home, And I have theaters that we go to specifically because I like the flavor of their butter. But Real Genius, I think it's just an excellent movie. From the moment he's on camera, you can't look away. He is flippant. He has attitude. Once again, here you feel the nuance of the pain under the character, and you even see moments of that, moments of realness that fit the character. So he knew how to dial it down, so to speak, to fit the role.
And I quote Socrates, who said, "I drank what?"
I mean,
one of my favorite lines in that movie.
Yeah, I drank what? and the scene where he takes the freezer bottle out of the freezer and slices off nitrogen to buy himself a coffee. That's just like so funny, you know? Yeah. And the way he decides to unofficially mentor the ingenue character, who who comes in by asking to be his roommate, so that the kid isn't taken under as much by what's going on, and the fact that even though he's this arrogant, disaffected and disappointed person across the board, he still doesn't think about the application of what they've made and how it might be used in a way that's like, oh my God. And it's not until he does that he decides to enact the revenge plan.
Yeah. I'm going to go with you. I loved Real Genius. It was one of the ones I considered, just because there's so much I love about that movie. Like the, I guess, female lead plays a character that, man, if I had met her in high school, I would have dated her for a long time. Just
so
she's
you
so
can
stream of
hammer
consciousness.
A 9-inch nail with your dick.
Yeah, no, not her. Not her. The dark-haired girl, the one that's
I love her.
Are you okay?
Laura,
no, not really. It should have gone much farther, much faster.
It should have lasted longer. And then the scene where she's helping them get back at what's his name, the bad guy character, the blonde idiot.
Yeah, the guy from
right.
Yeah, Bachelor Party.
Right. Mm-hmm. Another movie I actually enjoyed that a lot of people don't.
Oh, Bachelor Party's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
That
Well,
Tom
I'm
Hanks?
not surprised you like
Yeah,
it,
Tom
Jeremy.
Hanks.
But
I haven't seen it since
for
it
the
came
reason that you like it, a lot of the people that I know found it to be somewhat offensive.
The dead donkey. That's the best part.
Right. I think so too. I don't disagree.
out. Okay.
In fact, I think the donkey scenes in in Kevin Smith's movie
It's better.
were a tribute to,
Oh,
kind of like a callback, a reference, if you will.
I'm pretty sure Kevin Smith has said that in interviews that it is a callback,
Yeah. Okay.
a reference to it.
I thought that. I've never seen an interview where he said that. But
Kevin Smith's he's a freaking film lover. He pays tribute to any film he watched growing up. So
yeah, he does a ton of homages in his movies.
Right. Just like
Clerks.
no, our favorite director.
Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino.
that's why he wanted Val Kilmer to be in Jane Silent Bob reboot, because of him playing Batman. So he wanted him to play Blunt Man.
Interesting.
That was beautiful.
Good fun fact there.
Yep.
So, Aaron, how do we want to do this? Want to take it offline for like 5 minutes while we rank them, and then
My coffee cup is empty, so I'm thinking we'll take a break, and everybody will rank these 6 titles. I'll go over what they were again here in a second, and number 1 being best, number 6 being least best.
Okay.
First, we had Harley with At First Sight, and Phil with The Doors, Dan with Tombstone, Family Plot, Willow, Jeremy, Batman Forever, and Lisa, Real Genius. Real Genius.
Mm-hmm.
Teengus?
Teengus. Uncle Baby Billy. All right, so we'll take as long as it takes for people to rank those 6 titles.
All right.
And we will pick it back up.
We'll check back in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
3,000 years later.
And then
There's a joke there.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. You ever seen Stevie Wonder's wife? Neither Stevie Wonder. Real Genius. What's number 2? Lisa?
Actually, number 1 is Willow.
Oh.
Real Genius. Okay.
Shocker.
Okay. At First Sight, The Doors, Tombstone, and Batman. I know. I
All right.
Jeremy
So
and I both
we
picked Willow.
we have a winner.
All right, drum roll, please.
And it is Willow.
Wow.
Not surprising.
I think it's right.
So
Willow, Tombstone, Doors, Real Genius, Batman Forever, At First Sight.
All right.
So
Damn,
I'm surprised. I would have thought Tombstone going in.
Yeah,
Ah.
I would have thought so too. But again, talking about it and reliving some of it, like
What's missing?
Yeah, I think
I
Lisa
feel
might
like
have been
Oliver's-
convinced on Willow because coming in, I'm sure she was voting Real Genius.
well, it's
I loved Willow, and I actually figured someone would pick Willow, and I wanted to make sure Real Genius made it in as an honorable, as a mention.
where is
Gotcha.
Real Genius? Where does that rank, Aaron? I could.
4th.
Okay.
So what's the rankings again? Because he's trying to get
Willow has 25 points. It's first place votes got, there's 6 of you, so it got 6 points. Second place 5, last place 1. Willow got 25, Tombstone 23, The Doors 22, Real Genius 20, Batman Forever 19, At First Sight 17. So it was pretty tight.
Yeah.
Well, it's only 6 movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little.
But one of them could have been, 35 points, and one of them could have been
right.
6.
Would love for you gentlemen to join us on the on one of the. What we do is we look at the top 100 movies of the year of a certain year, and you pick your favorite movie, and then however many people show up on the podcast, just like today,
It's the same.
Right.
It's the same system. It's just
Right.
movies
We
instead.
do-
No,
right.
this is movies.
Right. It's but the movies of the year. We
And
started
when we do an album, we do this with the
Right.
tracks.
So I think what year would we be up to if we decide to do it again?
1988 is next, I
Okay.
believe.
Yeah.
Aaron
My
likes
birth year.
to give every movie on the list a shot.
Yeah, well, it's not just the top 100, but
Right,
it's
right.
anything released in the U.S. in
okay, well, yeah, in the
88.
year. Right. And so he likes to watch.
So
kind
if
of
people
all
find
of the
something that has to be added to the list, then we add it to the list, but we go with what Wikipedia mentions as a starting point.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Then there's usually some foreign films that,
The frustration
There's
we
a lot
ran
of good
into.
ones there
Like
from
Studio
what I've
Ghibli
seen so
comes in a
far.
lot.
yeah.
I don't know that I'd necessarily be great at that because there's movies I like that no one else
That's-
does.
And
In some
that's
cases,
okay.
we
no
love
one,
that.
Oh.
That's
perfect.
perfect.
in some cases, no
That's
one
Aaron.
even knows.
That's even better.
Well, like for
Yeah.
example, there's a movie
I'm watching
called
all these
Hawk
movies
the
I've never
Slayer.
seen. Yeah. Hawk the Slayer.
I've heard
Hawk
of
the
that.
Slayer. It's
I've
a
heard of that.
fantasy movie. It stars Jack Palance, who may be drunk during the entire movie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's this little sword and sorcery film, and it is so bad, it's good.
Yeah.
I
and-
understand.
Yeah,
I can
it's
almost
90
see the-
minutes of.
I can almost see the cover art right now.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
days of cable.
Yeah.
And then there's
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then there's this other movie called The Wizard of Speed and Time, made by a special effects artist named Mike Jitlove. And like the only person you know in the movie, the only name actor is one of the guys from Miami Vice and not Don Johnson. The other one, I can never remember his name, but he has
Right,
a
right.
bit part in the movie. But like this whole movie is literally the story of how this guy like became kind of a special effects artist, and it's a comedy, but it's full of like these weird special effects scenes that actually have a place in the movie, and it's just like. And the ads for it are just amazing because you'll catch I caught the ad on I forget what, but like shot on the same film stock as Roger Rabbit, and you're like, wait, that means nothing. But
It
it's
does
still
mean
it's
nothing.
such a good little movie.
Yeah.
Available on YouTube.
Yeah, it's kind of
Awesome.
like saying we used a microphone.
Yeah.
Well, the
Hey,
frustration
Dan, what's
level we got
What's
in.
that show where I watched it with you a long time ago. It was a PI who lived in a world where everybody had magic skills except him.
Oh,
Cast a Deadly Spell.
yes.
Cast a Deadly Spell. And there were two of them. The first one starred Fred Ward as the private eye Harry Lovecraft, and the second one starred Dennis Hopper as the same character.
Oh wow,
They were HBO movies.
crazy.
What was
all I
that movie
remember,
with Pee Wee?
all I remember from that movie is somebody getting paper cut to death.
What was that Pee Wee Herman movie?
Ouch.
It wasn't a Pee Wee Herman
Talk about-
movie, but it had they were all these superheroes, and Pee Wee Herman or
Mystery Men.
Mystery Men.
Love
Mystery
that.
Man. Oh,
Love
classic
that
90s
movie.
movie.
He had no
I would
powers.
totally
And it
bring
was-
that. I would totally bring that movie.
Mystery Man, yeah.
Okay, I would, and that's the kind of thing. I brought Ed Wood. Well, I would
Yeah.
bring Ed Wood when we get to that year because I loved that movie. Aaron almost always brings in the majority he has brought movies from Studio Ghibli.
No, just
Which-
once or twice.
Okay,
Yeah, he only
we've
brought two of
only
those so
done
far.
it like 3 times.
No, we did it 4 times now.
We've done
He
like-
Oh,
brought,
okay.
he's
So
done
half
Studio.
of his-
We've done 5, 83, 84, 85, 86,
Oh,
and
okay.
87.
Oh, okay.
True. Yeah, and
I'm a
he either
big
brings
fan
Studio.
of Studio Ghibli, if only for Kiki's Delivery Service. I
Yeah,
loved
that's a good
that
one.
movie.
He
Yeah.
brought that, or I watched that for something.
Yeah, and we didn't have that one
Yeah.
yet.
Oh no, I watched that for something else. I know what
We
I know
had
what it was now.
we had Nausicaa and whatever the next one was.
The pirate ship one, the one with the ship that flies.
Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, Castle in the Sky. Yeah,
No. Well, was it?
yeah,
Yeah, it was Cat.
yeah. Aaron brought, because
Okay.
he talked about Cloris Leachman doing the voicing in the American version.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah. That was that.
Here
was
was
good.
the frustrating part of that is we had it was really fun because we have a huge channel where people were nominating movies, so we'd get a queue of like 30 movies,
Mhm.
and
And then 6 people show up.
yeah,
Right.
like 6
Well,
people commit, and so we're watching all these movies that people are throwing out there against the wall. It's like, come on, man,
Yeah.
come on the
And
show
hey,
and defend your
Steve
movie.
and I are watching the 30 movies that have been nominated.
So it was a great chat. It was a great chat room, or it is a great chat room, but it didn't translate into the podcast.
It takes long to get to
What
the
we're doing
podcast.
here is like kind of a
It's
shortcut.
like a 6 month in advance announcement that we would need to like schedule a date for 6 months out
Yeah, and
for everybody to watch all the movies. And what was that
All the movies
last
they feel like
one,
they ought to watch.
the one set in, was it Serbia? With a little kid looking for his friend?
It was in around.
Oh, where's the friend's house?
Yeah,
yeah.
where's my friend's house?
That
That
actually
was
just I
Uh-huh.
just got notified this week on Letterboxd that it just got available for rent on Amazon finally.
Oh, cool.
It reminds me of this one movie I saw, I want to say early 90s, but it was about a group of punks called the TR, Totally Rejected, and they were living in this house, and it was such a good little movie.
Might have been 80s because in our high school there was a small quote gang that called themselves the TRs, right, Phil?
yeah, I think so. John
Yeah.
Baglian and
Yeah, they were the TRs, and the other ones were
Hitler Youth.
the Hitler Youth. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, but and I wish I could, but there's a song in that movie called "Richard Hung Himself," and it's a punk song, and it reached me at the time I saw it, and part of that is we had a friend who watched it with us, and like her best friend had killed themselves at one point, so when that scene came up, she just broke.
oh wow.
And and so we're all just surrounding her. That awkward moment where someone you don't know too well is just bawling their eyes out, and you're just trying.
Right.
It'll be okay. I don't know why. Can I go get a drink or something? This is awkward.
Yeah.
Google says it's a song by Slayer.
Oh, that makes sense.
No, it wasn't Slayer in the movie.
Oh, okay.
They probably redid it.
Slayer redoes a lot of things. They're Slayer.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, this has been
Oh,
fantastic.
do we have honorable mentions for Val
Oh
Kilmer?
yeah, let's yes.
Two.
Lay
I
it
got a
on
couple.
us.
Mine was the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, where he played the reboot Blunt Man, and the Prince of Egypt because he voiced Moses in the Prince of Egypt, and that's like
And God.
and God, and there was I had so many memories growing up with the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
If I had to say, boy,
I'll throw out MacGruber.
Yeah, he was good in that.
He was great in MacGruber. Love that movie.
That's the thing. Even in a somewhat bad movie or an iffy movie, he's still the watchable part.
I mean, the fact that movie had so many WWF wrestlers at the time in it, and they all died in one scene, that made the funniest movie ever.
And that's where I would line up. If I was like a famous actor, I would line up to be killed in something like that.
I'd say Heat. Heat was a big one for him.
Okay.
That's a movie that Lisa and I saw. I got like free passes to the movies. I was really excited because it was De Niro and Pacino in the same movie, and it turned out to be a little bit long, but his performance in it was good.
Saying is, we got there and I was working third shift, to be fair, and we were seeing the first morning show. And so we got there, and it was the first time ever that we had popcorn at the end of the movie, because I fell asleep about, 5 minutes in. I just flat out.
A little dry, but his performance was good. We didn't.
And that was not a comment on Heat. I have not seen it.
Here's a fun fact: we had the actress who served De Niro and Pacino
in the movie
dinner in the movie and drinks or whatever on the movie.
On our podcast.
Katie Chonacas, and she diagnosed Lisa with misophonia.
Misophonia.
Yes.
We're pronouncing it misophonia now.
Anyway,
I'm going to go. I'll mention Island of Dr. Moreau, which was a horrible movie.
Oh, absolutely horrible. Unwatchable.
But Val gave a great performance. It's just lost. That the script was horrible, the direction, but Val did his best with it. God bless him. And there are movies like that. Like there's one called Wagons East that horrible. John Candy does his best with it, and you can see it. That
he tries.
Yeah.
There is a movie called Wagons West or Women West, something like that, where women are going west to be brides, and that is really good. I have to find out the actual name of that movie.
Well, the Island of Doctor. If you see that Val documentary, it's on Hulu, I think.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You see that there's a lot of great behind the scenes footage from the Island of Dr. Moreau, where he talks with Brando, and you get some little inside baseball on why Bruce Willis backed out of it and kind of was doomed from the beginning almost. But
well, how many times can you remake something? How many times can you remake a horror movie? And
especially since none of them have been that good.
Simpsons did it best. Simpsons did it best in a Treehouse of Horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good.
And then just because it's based on actual historical events, The Ghost in the Darkness, I liked that. But I mean, it's based off the Savo man-eaters, and you can go to the Chicago Museum and see their skeletons and their skin reunited because they'd been used as rugs for a very long time. But yeah, it's just based on a true story, and it's a story we've covered, so I have to mention it. It's got its issues, but yeah.
All right. Anything else for Val Kilmer before we wind it up?
I think my
honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Thank you. I can't words. My honorable mention is Top Secret.
Top Secret. Okay.
Oh yeah, that would have been mine.
That was his first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job in that.
Made by the producers of Airplane, and full of that kind of silly humor.
I don't think it reached the pinnacle that Airplane is, but yes, I still thought it was funny.
It was decent. It was decent.
Yeah.
But
I think that was where he first sang in a movie. Which
I mean,
another one that I just recently watched was The Thaw, and I thought he did pretty good in that. It's very body horror-y, so it's kind of like The Thing.
Yeah.
In that sense.
In a cold environment like that.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
He seemed to be. There's one thing I wanted. It's not film related, but he did a one-man show on Mark Twain.
Oh,
in the latter part.
Yeah, they talk about that a lot in the. That's quite a bit of the Val Kilmer biography. Which, by the way, I enjoyed that documentary.
Yeah, you seem to.
If you want to watch the Island of Dr. Moreau, don't watch the documentary about the Island of Dr. Moreau. Okay? Don't watch the movie.
Don't watch Brando.
I'm sorry. No.
One thing you said about Twain was
that.
Mark Twain had a way of telling stories that shifts your consciousness away from labels. So he had a deep appreciation for Mark Twain.
I mean, he did play Mark Twain in the Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn movie that came out like a decade ago.
Okay.
He played Mark Twain. He played Mark Twain in that.
And he's your Huckleberry.
Right.
So
there's a link there.
Aaron, I know you said you didn't like any of his movies. If you had to pick one that you'd watch.
Oh, I think I've seen them all.
Just reject him out of hand.
Most of them I haven't seen in 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Probably Tombstone, Doors, Willow, At First Sight. Then it's a toss-up. Batman Forever, Real Genius. I don't know.
But then that would screw up the whole rankings, and we'd have to do the show.
Yeah,
I think Willow and Tombstone would still be right up there.
Yeah.
They maybe would have switched places, but
he's hypothesizing. That's all he's doing.
No,
Right,
that's
right.
cool.
Yeah, he asked, so.
Right.
No,
But
no,
it's-
we appreciate your.
Very good question.
It's weird that I happened to see At First Sight on a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up. Go around and tell everybody where we can find you, any social media handles and whatnot. Family Plot, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, our podcast is available any place you get your podcasts. We're all over that. But you can also find us as plot_family on Twitter. You can find us at Family Plot on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram. Heck, you can even find a Family Plot board on Pinterest. If you go to my Pinterest, Dean Bose, that last name is spelled Boese. It's German. It was originally spelled with 2 S's, and it means naughty, evil, bad, or crazy. So that says something about my ancestors. I'm not sure if it says anything good, but it says something. And I think that covers all the places you might find us.
Excellent. Thank you. Jeremy, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook as Squatchy Largefoot. He likes to broadcast my stuff out. A bipedal Sasquatch that learned how to speak from Arcturians. You can find me on X and the Gram as @Juggalo Bastard. You can find me on YouTube as Paranormal the New Normal or Maniacal Music Musings.
Paranormal the New Normal or Maniacal Music Musings. If people needed that slowed down.
I'm just saying it fast.
Yeah, Harley, how about you?
Well, you can find me on the Asylum with Harley and Joker, which is on all major sites: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of it, or the Mod Squad Network.
Cool. Dan, where can we find you?
You can find me on most socials as Dan B. Fierce or some derivative of that. I think on Twitter it's Dan B. Fierce 1 or something like that. And you can also find my books at www.danbyfiercebooks.com. And I have a link tree.
DANBYFIERCE?
No, DANB.
Okay. Dan B. Fierce.
Fierce. FIERCE.
Okay. Dan, the letter B, Fierce.
Yes.
There we go.
Related to Sasha Fierce?
Then,
okay.
I think that
pretty much all my
Sasha Fierce
socials.
is a stage name.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. I've got a round of golf to play.
All right.
And I'll see you guys around. Thanks for joining us.